Hey guys, this is Chris Martin with the Crane Rental Podcast, Crane Rental Minute. You can find me at cranerentalblog.net, right? Where all of our articles about cranes, our videos, and audio material and content resides. Also, you can find us on, iTunes or Stitcher or the likes, right? So I want to talk to you guys today. This is our Crane Rental podcast segment. So I'm going to go into just a couple, just a war story episode, right? Talking about my history in the crane rental business. You can see we have our Grove crane here. We got our Grove weight here. So I've been in the crane rental business for 5+ years. That plus is only by a few months, but 5 years in the industry. And I really love this industry. I didn't know much about the crane rental game and crane rental industry when I joined up, but I joined up on the marketing side of things, and I went out into the field the first couple weeks in the business and got to see some things that people still in this industry have never seen today. They've only seen it in pictures, and it's pretty cool to see that I basically, on a day-to-day basis, have a full access pass to go into the field with the guys, work alongside the guys, the oilers, riggers, operators, signal person, drivers, work alongside of them, taking pictures, taking video, and working with them, putting the gloves on and doing some work. But it's really cool. This is a lot. This industry is so much fun, and many of you maybe have never heard of this industry. If you're watching this, this may be your first exposure to it. Maybe it's not. Maybe you're a veteran in the game, as I call it. Whatever level you are, the crane rental industry is kind of this hidden secret in the construction sector, but it's so much fun, and it is very doable if you apply yourself, right? If you want to learn the industry, take the time to do it, go out there, oil for a crane, then start rigging and signaling, and then becoming a crane operator, right? And then you start off on a small crane, and now you move to, a larger crane, right? So you can progress in the field. Of course, the only thing that limits you in the crane rental business is your own motivation, your own hustle, and your own want and drive, right? So this episode may be short, but I'll just kind of explain my first day on the job. In the field, rather. So I was in Texas, West Texas, and we were disassembling a Manitowoc 2250, which was in Maxer. Some people will never see this 2250 in Maxer configuration. They'll talk about it and say how it works, and you'll hear these guys on the internet saying, all that kind of nonsense, but they've never seen Maxer, never been around a Maxer buggy, they've never, taken a Maxer apart. And I was coming on the tail end of when we were taking the Maxer apart. It was so much fun. And, once you get out there and you see this large crane, I know for me, this is how it happened. And maybe it happened for you guys differently or similarly. I don't know if I said that right, but who cares? We're going to keep moving. But when I got out there and I saw this big crane, I'm like, dude, I kind of like this. I don't know what I like about this, but I am 100% passionate. I want to learn more. I want to go out there and help them take the boom sections apart. I want to go up in the man basket and help, unreeve that back mast piece for the buggy. Well, it wasn't a buggy. It was Maxer, the other Maxer attachment, where you have to go in the man basket and do it when you need the other assist crane to help you. And, man, just taking apart this crane with this sheer size was just so much fun. And I didn't do start to finish for the guys. I did a few days with the guys and then moved on to another project in the West Texas market. Where we were working on working on wind turbines. Second day on the job basically was going out with the crew, working with them on taking down a gearbox in a wind application, wind turbine section, wind turbine park, which was equally as cool, right? This is day 2 on the job, right? But day 1, I'm getting some experience that many people have never really had. And when I went out there and saw just the sheer size of the equipment, I saw the guys that I'd be working with, talking with the guys. They didn't give me much respect in the first. I don't know when I earned the respect of the guys, but it took a while. because I'm just this young 25-year-old guy at the time with the camera taking pictures, and they don't know who I am, they don't know why I'm there. I'm just a marketing guy. But over time, we built a camaraderie. Not all the time am I taking pictures, so the other time I'm helping the guys, put boom in place. You take out your hammer and start hammering pins into place, right? You're helping them do this, you're doing that, you're carrying shackles, you're doing this. So you're working alongside the guys and becoming part of the team. And this crane rental industry really, kind of hinges on a few things. It's your want to do it, your drive to do the job with a smile and hustle this thing out. But it also has a large teamwork component involved, right? You have to buy into it and drink the Kool-Aid and the special and eat the special sauce and like it, and be able to work with these guys on a team, because when you're out there working with these heavy pieces of equipment, this Manitowoc 2250 and Maxer, there is quite a bit of things going on, to say the least. And if you have ever worked these cranes, or if you've worked cranes at all, you know exactly what I'm talking about. A lot of different things going on, a lot of different moving parts, a lot of cogs in the operation. So you have to be able to look left and right and trust these people that, if you're in a bad spot, they're going to say something and get you out of that bad spot. And if they're in a bad spot, you're going to go over them and say, hey, dude, you're in a bad spot. I know this is your first day on the job, but you need to stand over here, right? So they really helped me learn where I needed to be. A lot of knowledge was downloaded that day of what's this, what's that, what is this, what's the purpose of this, why are we doing this? I had so many questions and not enough time to get all the answers. So, but 5 years in, those answers start coming every time you go into a project and say, oh, here's how we do this, or are we doing this because of this? But that fire just really started. This is a wartime story, as I like to call it. And, going out there and seeing this Manitowoc 2250 being built and, well, in this case, disassembled with a support crane, man, it's just, I just remember vividly that first day of going out there and thinking, what am I doing, right? There's a lot of going on, and, it's a mix of what am I even doing here? I'm in Texas doing this. I have no idea what these cranes are about. It's a small percentage of that and a large percentage of, I want to know more. I want to know what the heck this is. I want to learn everything I can. I want to operate this thing. You just turn into like I don't know if this is just a me example or not, but I just turned back into a 5-year-old kid when you're playing with your Tonka toys, right? And it just brings out that inner youth that I think that we all have in life, and it just makes you smile. But, you're not necessarily smiling when you're working. Well, maybe you are. I do sometimes, most of the time, right? You're smiling, whistling while you work, if you will. And, but when you're focused, you may not be smiling, but you're still focused, but you're smiling on the inside. It's like, man, this is pretty fun. I'm doing something here. I'm helping these guys, this crew, when you're not photographing the whole operation, but you're really becoming part of history in the sense that you were there helping take down this crane. But when these guys and these operators are out there building the Southwest, right? I'm in the Southwest region of the U.S., or you guys are in other regions, or across the pond, as you might call it. Wherever you are and you're operating a crane or rigging or oiling, you're basically help building something that's going to last a long time. And if you ride around with these guys, these veterans of the game, sometimes you can't ride with these guys anymore because, they'll give you a history lesson just when you're going to the job site of, oh, I built that with this crane 20 years ago. And then, what was really cool about this building over here, I built it, I skated in the generator, the transformer for that, and here's what happened, here's why it happened. And then you look left, it's like, oh yeah, see that cell tower, we did that with this crane. And, sometimes you can't even ride with these guys anymore because you're just getting like flooded with stories. But in the other sense, it's pretty cool to hear what they've accomplished in this industry. So this is part war story, part recruitment, part general exposure to the industry. Right, if you're just thinking about skilled labor and construction, I would say crane service and crane rental is the way to go. Join up to your local crane, union hall, or find your local crane rental company and stop in and say, how do I get started? And in fact, we have videos here, episodes 1 through 9 are packed with videos of the Crane Rental podcast of how real guys in the industry got real starts in the industry and became real operators in the industry. And it's really cool to listen to their stories. So maybe some of their stories will translate and resonate with you guys here on the Crane Rental podcast. But yeah, so going out there, back to the story, not knowing anything is kind of, well, it's actually extremely humbling, because you think you know something and you go out there and you're like, dude, I know nothing about, I don't know anything about anything about anything. I'm just basically, it's like when you go to college the first day, or you go to school the first day, or you go to driver's ed the first day, right? We can all relate to driver's ed, maybe. Some of you guys are farm guys perhaps, and we're driving since you were 2, right? You got the little mini 4-wheeler stuff and everything like that. But yeah, when you just get into this stuff, or when you're trying something new or learning something new, maybe you're a ham operator or something like that, and you get the book the first day and you start reading it, you're like, dude, I don't know anything about this. What the heck is a wavelength, right? What is 10-meter band? So you get all this, whatever you like to do. When you start, you have some level of discomfort of not knowing anything, and you have a large, I think, level of wanting to know and intriguement. That's not a word, but intrigue of the subject. And that intrigue got me through a lot of the 5 years of wanting to learn, because you can get gassed out and say, I don't even know what I'm doing here. This is not the right thing, or cranes are silly. But just over the years, I just got more and more in depth and wanting to know more and more about the cranes. I'm not a crane expert by any means, but I'm trying to, in our Crane Rental Minutes, explain more about the cranes and what they do to people who do know cranes and people who don't know cranes. Maybe you can share it with other people, right, in the industry, if you want to explain something. But when you go out there and you see these massive cranes getting built, you really are learning the industry from the ground up, and you really see the sense of pride in the guys. You really see what this industry is all about. And I think without that, boot camp, so to speak, or whatever you would call it, without that tactile and that exposure to the industry the first few weeks, I don't know that I would still love the industry, of course, because, it's comes back to boys with toys, right? Who doesn't like big toys? But I don't know that I would get a whole sense of everything. I don't know that you get the whole scale of everything. Seeing the Max or the 2250, the Manitowoc 2250 in Maxer is not something you see every day. And if it is something you see every day, you're doing big jobs, right? You're lucky you're doing big jobs, because it's a cool piece of equipment. Takes a long time to set up, but it is a beast when it gets all set up. It can sometimes pick with the Manitowoc 16,000 in some places on the chart, right? So that gives you the sheer scale. That's a 300-ton versus a 440-ton crane. And sometimes in some places they pick in the same spot. Now, if you're watching this and you're not really familiar with the industry, I would say, and you want to learn more, just watch some of our previous videos. If you are a guy in this industry, comment below on some of the war stories that, what was your first job like? Everybody has their first job, and everybody remembers their first job, or the first project they were on, or the first day they were like, dude, what am I doing here? Or, dude, I am so excited about being here. You have that mix of, that mix. Everybody's mix is different, but it's really cool when you kind of look back and see where it's really cool to look back when you see, my nose is all weird today. It's really cool when you look back and see where you've gone and you reflect on where you started, right? I started out there basically, well, actually, it's not basically, it's literally knowing nothing about cranes. All I knew is they could pick stuff up. I mean, that's the level of crane knowledge I had at the time. And now, I've 5 years of crane knowledge. Some of the guys in the industry have 40 plus years, right? So I'm not saying I'm an expert here, but I have a pretty good idea of what's going on now than I did before. And when you look back, it's like, man, that young Chris Martin, that young Padawan guy, has come so far in this industry, and I've learned so much, and I just really enjoy it, and I'm really passionate about this industry. But write in the comments of your first job story. I know it's probably lengthy, but maybe you can summarize it in a few sentences of what you did and what you picked. In my first story, we were disassembling a Manitowoc 2250 in Maxer, which was pretty cool. And that just started a fire inside of me of wanting to learn more. And just seeing all of it, just going back and seeing the sheer scale of everything. This is a beast of a crane. This is not some boom truck or some sign truck crane or some carry deck, right? This is the real deal. In some walks of life. In other walks of life, the real deal is like an 18,000 Manitowoc, right? That's whole nother level. But yeah, that was my first crane story. I'll be sharing more of my crane war stories, as I like to call them, of real jobs, real projects I've been on, and real stories inside the crane rental industry. This is basically your ticket inside the crane rental industry. Is this crane rental podcast, Crane Rental Minute. We talk about crane rental terms, right? Like, block. I don't know what this is. This could be, I'll call this test weight, right? But yeah, in the Crane Rental Minute, we talk about actual crane terms. Crane Rental Podcast, we talk about in-depth war stories. We talk with other crane operators, crane guys in the field. Just talk about general industry terms, slang, stuff like that. So thanks for listening to us, guys. This is just a short 15-minute podcast today, talking about my first story. There wasn't too much to say detail-wise about the story. It was basically just general disassembly. We're out there for a few days, breaking down that crane so that crane can move and mob to another site, right? And it was a lot of fun, taking the boom sections down, learning all this, helping the guys reeve it up, and running the rope back and forth to reeve up everything, all your pulleys and your sheaves, right? So it was a lot of fun. That's a pretty interesting crane first job. I know you guys probably have even more interesting jobs than me and have probably more interesting experiences, right? But that was just my first crane job. I'm going to hit you up with more crane war stories. Maybe we'll drop those on Wednesday for you guys. Wednesday war stories has a nice ring to it, right? I'm going to have a little bit of water. But that's the end of this. Maybe we'll call it. Yeah, maybe we'll do it on Wednesday. Wednesday war story, right? This is the end of the first Wednesday war story that we just coined up here. It has a nice ring to it. I like the ring to it. And we will see you guys later for a Crane Rental Minute. And don't forget to subscribe or share these videos with your friends. Chloe just walked by. That's why the test weight here is going crazy, but we just leveled her out. And we need a tagline in here to make this really professional. But we'll see you guys next week or next episode. My name is Chris Martin with the cranerentalblog.net, where you can find all the information of cranes, blog topics, videos, podcasts, crane rental minutes. It's your ticket inside the crane rental industry from a guy who's working inside the crane rental industry as we speak. So we're not talking about any proprietary information, just talk about general knowledge type stuff, and it's a lot of fun. Thank you for watching. Thank you for paying attention, and thank you for subscribing and supporting us on the cranerentalblog.net. All right, bye guys. We'll talk to you next week. Chloe, you like this? Chloe. Chloe. You could be like a real life Godzilla. So if you're watching this still, this is not in the podcast, but I left a little extra 20 seconds, 30 seconds in here of Chloe playing with the crane. I thought that was fun. All right, we'll see you guys later. Bye.